Well, hello everybody, and yeah, I am making this video as a bit of an update to the character creator roster. I might have fudged up a little bit. I am going to be honest, I was not perfectly clear at what I was trying to say or do for the creating the officers. My apologies, I really messed that up. I was very tired that recording session. But let me give it a little bit more in-depth for those who might be a little bit more, not too sure on what to do. I've had a few people tell me that I don't know how to do this, or I want to see a little bit of the game, I guess. But the best way I can do this is try to explain to you some of the things that you can do with the stats. So I've gone over the names, I've gone over, the faces and everything in the previous video. So if you want to combine the two videos, you can. That is perfectly fine. I don't want to waste too much time. I do have other things I need to do. So I'm not gonna make this too long. I'm going to, go through a couple things here and there. So, for those who do not know much about RTK or the Romance of the Three Kingdoms series, this stuff about like close friends and stuff, if you have no idea how this works or who anyone is, do not worry about this. You can completely skip this if you completely so desire. Ooh, excuse me. If you so desire, I'm not forcing you to do it. I'm not forcing you to do anything. This is just for like some flavor. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I just want to go over mainly about the character settings, which is the abilities. So for those who do not know, which is a couple people that have stated to me that they're not really sure how this works. Let me give you a quick rundown. So, for your stats, again, the total will be 430 is how many points you can use. So to start off, leadership. Leadership is literally what it is. It's your leadership. It's how well are you able to lead armies, how well are you to lead like forces, etc., etc. This will determine a lot of how some of your forces work. I believe this affects your offensive ability in terms of armies. A high leadership means your attacks and your tactics have way better chances of working. So like when you do a tactic, which is like a special ability with your certain weapon type, which is one of these down here, this affects quite a few of these. Intelligence also affects this stuff, but I'll get into that in a sec. But yeah, leadership, high leadership means your character is very good at leading armies. You're pretty good at fighting battles, like you do. I think this is majority of your damage, like your attack, in dealing against other people's armies, because these officers will get to control or be a part of like a force of like thousands of troops fighting other thousands of troops, and having a high leadership helps with that. Helps keep people organized, keep up morale, etc. Warrior stat, warrior stat is pretty much is a similar stat. It is your defense, like your defense against taking on forces of like other units. So if you take damage, the war stat will help decrease the damage you take and how many troops you lose in battle. Warrior stat also improves your chances and improves your ability to duel. So there's duels in the game where it'll be one leader, so it'll be one character like this versus another character like a single general or captain. They duel. Having a higher war stat means you do more damage, you have more health, higher defense, you're able to act more. A higher war stat, it allows you to deal with duels quite a lot. Like, you're able to do a lot. You can have literally one guy who's at like 90 warrior stat and take on 3 people who are like roughly 70 to 80. Like, that is very good. War stat's very good. I believe this also helps with drilling, which is increases their willpower, which allows you to do more tactics, which is your special moves that do more damage or do various effects, which is very nice. So these two are very some of the most important stats in having a very strong and defensively strong unit, a very strong army. Intelligence is used for a lot of things. It's used for certain tactics requiring intelligence, like confusing your target or causing them to retreat, etc., etc. It is also used in debates. Debates are a form of getting other officers in the game, and one of those is debating them. And debating them is really heavily dependent on intelligence. The more intelligence you have, the better your chances at debating them and the minigame that it is. It also gives you, when you go past a certain threshold in your intelligence, you get more options in your debates that helps give you a better chance at winning or a better chance of beating them in this like rock, paper, scissors type game. Very good stat. It also increases your defense. This is also very good for defense against tactics that will confuse you or make you retreat or subterfuge you. So these, I will say personally, these 3 stats, if you want a character who's mostly a warrior on the field dealing damage or fighting other armies, these 3 stats are your go-to. If you don't really care about, managing cities or keeping people or being able to recruit people, because these 2 are like the best for like recruiting and keeping up cities. But if you don't care about that, you just want to go for a pure just officer who's good on the battlefield, there you go. It's these 3. You want to focus on those 3. Intelligence is also used for, I believe it's used for building. Like, you have a good intelligence. Intelligence and politics is for, like, building stuff. And that's when we go to politics. Politics is mostly just city building, like, increasing, like, a higher, an officer with high politics is able to build quicker than most who can, because you're able to, they're able to direct people into building buildings. So you're able to build, like, your farms, your markets, certain bases and stuff. Like, politics, intelligence, and that stuff helps build that stuff, including, like, building fortifications, I believe, is also more of an intelligence and politics stat. And these both help with that a lot. So if you want to be a builder or have some building aspect, you would focus in politics or intelligence. There's not much else to politics other than maybe a few bits and pieces that are not entirely important. You don't really need a high stat for a lot of that stuff, so that's really not much to think about. Lastly is charisma. Charisma is a very underrated stat, but also not the worst stat to have as your weakest. Charisma is used for recruiting troops, I believe. So this character, if you have a character who wants to get more people and more weapons and stuff like that, which also is part of intelligence. Intelligence is also to get more weapons. I should have mentioned that. But yeah, intelligence is for weapons. Charisma is for, yeah, intelligence and politics are like your best for getting more weapons like spears, pikes, bows. I believe Cavalry is considered a politic and charisma, one of the 2. And then weaponry and navy is like intelligence based, is to make those weapons or items or whatnot. But charisma is a stat that is good for recruiting people. If a high charisma stat means you're able to recruit a lot more people, which means you spend less money and you're able to get a bigger force early on and quicker. Charisma stat doesn't really do much other than also gives you a higher chance at recruiting officers. If there's an officer who's, in prison, or you have in prison and their loyalty is going down, an officer with high charisma stat has a better chance at recruiting them to your force. So yes, that is like, these are all important in their own right. Doesn't mean you should not be a master of all of them, because you can relatively get away with a character who has 3, maybe even 2 high stats, and the rest are kind of okay. It is fine to have, stats that are min-maxed or whatnot, but yeah, if you want to focus on a warrior officer who's good in the battlefield and good with duels, etc., focus on leadership warrior the most, and then intelligence second, so that he isn't, defenseless for certain tactics. If you want an officer who's very good at, building up cities and is able to, like, defend them, then try to go for, like, leadership and politics with warrior as a second stat. Intelligence isn't the biggest, factor in that regard. If you want somebody who's good at building fortifications, is able to recruit more units, like intelligence, charisma, and politics are like your 3 you should aim for. Mainly, charisma and intelligence is your best bet for that, because getting troops, getting the funds, everything, very good stats to look into. So if you don't know how you should build them, that's like my best tip if you want to make a character. But yeah, there's a lot here that you can do, all in all. And then I should talk about these here. So the game works in like a rock, paper, scissors fashion. Again, I'm making this video for people who were a little bit confused, and I apologize. That was my fault. I should have been a lot more clearer on what is going on in the game and what works and what doesn't work. So, spears. Spears are probably one of the better, like one of the most versatile type weapons in the game. They have average speed, they have pretty good tactics. Their tactics are able to push enemies away, they're able to confuse, they do decent damage. They are strong against Cavalry. Cavalry is pretty weak against spears, and they have a way higher chance of confusing and doing way more damage and taking less damage from Cavalry. Pikes, on the other hand, are pretty good. Pikes, other than bows, do a lot of AoE and do a lot of zone control. To put it simply, pikes are able to drag enemy forces across the field out of the way or into danger, and it is very nice to have pike units. Pike units are also very versatile. They're able to work in most terrains, if memory serves me right. Their other two tactics allow them to attack multiple enemies that are near them. Their last one, which is Whirlwind, they're able to attack around them. So any enemy that's surrounding them, they're able to, for one attack, they can hit everybody with like a huge cost of will. But yeah, pikes are very good. Pikes are strong against spears. Spears kind of get decimated by pikes quite a bit. You're able to do more damage. You can't stun spears, but you can do a lot of damage to them, and spears can't do much against pikes. They kind of do quite a bit of reduced damage. Bows are your range, units. They're able to fire arrows across distances over your ally units. Like, it's best to have them at the back, and you can just shoot over them. They have abilities that allows them to ignite enemies on fire, which is a very strong unit ability for bows, and it's like their first level. They're able to hit penetrate enemy rows. So if you have enemies in front of you, you can hit through multiple. And they have the ability Shower, which is the last one you get when you're at S rank. S rank bows are able to have the ability Shower, which allows you to hit up to, I think, 4 enemies in in a air radius, wherever you aim with that attack, and you're able to hit them all without any retaliation. Very good. Bows are kind of slightly underrated in my opinion. A group of bows with like 1 or 2 physical units like spears or cavalry able to defend them. Bows can whittle down officers and units quite a lot and quite quickly. They are pretty good. I would have to recommend. They are pretty good. That being said, there is not a lot of generals who are very good with bows. There's only quite a few. There's only a good number that are bow related, but everyone else is either spears, pikes, or cavalry. And there's only like 1 or 2 unit officers in the entire game that have like bow related skills. So there's something, if you want to make a character, go for a bow skill. I will review over skills in a minute as well. I kind of just want to get through the rest of these. Bows have no rock paper scissors outlier. It's just that they suck in melee. That's it. So it's best to have them either away from the battlefield or on higher ground, so they can't be attacked by from melee units. Yeah, other than that, their weaknesses is that they can't engage in melee easily. They take a lot of damage in melee. They don't have the best defense, but they're very good at whittling and supporting other units. Cavalry. Cavalry are easily probably one of the stronger units in the game, I have to say. They are the fastest, of course. They're on horses, so they have a lot more ability to ride across terrain. Their only weaknesses specifically is that certain terrains, they cannot have the ability to use their tactics, and that is really crappy. And a lot of big battles and a lot of like cities that are kind of hard to capture have really tough terrain where cavalry is very much slowed. There's some terrain that makes cavalry slower than like spears or pikes or bows. Certain terrain makes cavalry slower where spears, pikes, and bows are just only hindered by a little bit. So other than that, cavalry is very good. They have a lot of good strengths. They have the ability to charge through enemies. They can push enemies away at great distances as well. They're able to push and move with enemies, causing them to, get engaged pretty quickly. they can breach them, so they actually can cut right through them and get on the other side of the units. They are very good at breaking ranks and breaking lines. So very good offensive, like just straight up offensive. And if you upgrade and research Cavalry a lot in this game, they're able to get horse bows. So they get the abilities of bows, normal attack, which is they're able to attack at least 2 squares away on the field. So Cavalry is definitely, in my personal opinion, probably the stronger unit type. Their weakness is only spears. As I said, they're strong against pikes. But if you can get around the spears abilities and, you know, increase damage against them, they are a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, very, very good. Weaponry is a tough one. You don't really get very good weapons early on, in terms of they take a lot of time and money to build. They can take like 3 to 4 turns to get made, especially if you have only a few decent, you know, builders in your city or in the groups. And they can take a while. They really can. And again, they are very expensive. They cost like a couple thousand gold at least. They're very tough to maintain and acquire. But future research and future technology upgrades you get in the game allows you to have some pretty devastating weaponry that does a lot of either troop damage, troop will breaks, morale damage, or sometimes even you're able to build weaponry that does a ton of damage to cities and stuff like that, and buildings, which is very good. It is a costly and time-consuming skill trait to have in the game, but it is worth it in the long run, and having a couple officers who are pretty good in weaponry is very good in the long run. Navy is probably the most underutilized. Navy can be pretty good to pretty okay, depending on where you start or where you are in the map. Navy can be very useless or very vital in some of your abilities to take on armies in the water. Navy just increases your everybody. It's like a general stat and not really a class type. Navy does grant you access to certain tactics like fire arrows, the ability to ram and shove boats aside, especially if you're in a warship, if you build those. It does increase your damage, your defense, and your natural ability to maneuver in the water if you have a higher skill stat in it. But overall, yeah, that is like a general gist of them, while giving them some decent detail into every single one. Navy is, like I said, is at least one, but it's always good to have an officer too who is very good and something that like that. And then yeah, skills. I'll go over skills in a second. Let me just get a drink of water. I am talking a bit, so just 2 seconds here. Okay. So yeah, let me just, you know, again, I will let you guys read these. I'm gonna let you guys pause and read these as you can. And I'll go over a general gist of them in just a second here. But yeah. But yeah, there's the skills. You can pause and read them if you so wish so. But to quickly run down, ignore Zoasion's land fleetness. This is very good. It's probably one of the better march abilities in the game. It lets you to pretty much ignore zone of control. So if there's enemies blocking your way, it does reduce your movement speed. This ignores it, so you can literally move around them without any issue. Force march is very good. It lets you to go through certain terrain without being slowed by it, except for weaponry, not transports or weaponry. Yep. So it makes Cavalry very much better. A general who has this, an officer with this skill, can be pretty good. Force gallop improves Cavalry movement speed. That is very good. Propulsion ignores Zoasion water. Very good. This is a very good skill. Allows you to maneuver around enemy ships pretty easily. Ship seamanship is pretty decent. I mean, boats move generally pretty fast anyways, especially warships. And higher navy stat increases that too. But this is also very good if you're, depending on the type of character you are and where you are. Traverse is decent. This is good if you don't have the March research upgrade where you don't take damage regardless. So this is only okay. I wouldn't really think much of it. Transport, improved transport units, land movement. This one's very good if you want to transport supplies or units across the field. This is very good. Antidote is pretty okay. There's only like 3 areas in the game that have poison, and you can just maneuver them without taking much damage anyways. So kind of mid. Sweep Asunder and Majesty are like the same thing, it's just one's better than the other. These are pretty strong. Sweep Asunder and Majesty, they remove enemy will, which is what they use for their tactics. And small reduces it by 10, large reduces it by 20. I'm gonna say Majesty is kind of like not really that OP. It's very strong, and I think if everybody had Majesty, it would really ruin the game. So I would advise maybe considering this one, but I would also think about other ones that might help you in battle. I already got quite a few who have Sweep Asunder and Majesty already. Promotion, recover will on defeating an enemy unit. Just as it says, when you defeat an enemy unit, you get some of your abilities to use tactics again a little bit more per, defeated units. Chain attack is very good. Just a regular attack, like just a normal attack, not using any tactics. You have a 50% chance of doing a double attack. Very nice. Very good. Raid, 50% chance of taking no damage on land. I think this is only for regular attacks, not tactics. Pretty good. Pretty good skill. Marine Raid, that's just the water version of it. Close combat is very good. Stronger attack in forests. There's quite a few battlefields that have forest lands. This is pretty good. It means that you can ambush enemies and have a higher chance of confusing them or doing critical damage. Very good. Siege is insanely good. It pretty much doubles your damage against constructions, which is i.e. fortifications, cities, buildings. If you have a guy who has a siege and like S in weaponry with like a ram, you're doing a lot of damage to fortresses. You can pretty much one-shot a lot of the fortifications with this combo alone. Siege is very good, and I highly recommend if you want a character that's like that, who's like a destructor with weaponry and stuff, definitely would recommend you get this one. In Tramp, 50% chance of confusion on joint attack. That means you have multiple allies targeting one unit in one attack. This is a very decent one. However, there's other skills that can give you this effect, but better. Capture is pretty okay. I wouldn't recommend it. It's pretty rare still. Masterful is very good on getting double technique points, which is a pretty good currency, and that allows you to advance like a lot of your technologies and other stuff. It's pretty useful. Plunder, steal item on defeating unit, pretty good actually. You can steal a lot of good stuff from like excellent officers and legendary officers if you do beat them. Not a bad one to have. Beguile, enemies troops defect on defeating units. I never really understood what this meant. If people know, they can let me know in the comments. Exterminate is one of the more broken skills in the game. I'm only allowing one officer to have this. Stronger attack versus weaker units. It's pretty strong. It allows you to have critical attacks on enemy units who have less stats than you or less troops. And you can even do it if a cavalry's versus a spear unit. The cavalry can win with a skill like this. So I am limiting it to one character. Range is very good. Tower stone projectiles range increased by 1 square. This is actually very good if you're using a weaponry character. White Riders just gives cavalry horse bows without the research. Strong horse bows. So this improves the horse bows you get normally. Assistance, support available without ties except dislike. Is not bad. It means you can get a free attack sometimes from allies, which is really nice. Spear General, Pike General, Archer General, and Cavalry General just makes your attack stronger against an enemy unit that they're weak against you. Like Spear is strong against Cavalry, so you have better chances of critical attacks, etc. Stuff like that. And the same applies to like Archery General. So if you're shooting arrows at a target that has like lesser stats, like less defense than your offense, you'll get more critical attacks that way. These are all very good. I would say these are all pretty top tier. Not OP, but very good. Admiral is just the Navy version of that. Valiant in general, all attack stronger versus weak unit. This is broken. This is another one that's limited to one created officer in the entire campaign. It's first come, first serve. It just makes you OP, and only like one or two, like I think only one officer in the entire game normally has this ability. It is broken. And then Divine Right, Divine Spears, Divine Pikes, Divine Bows, Divine Cavalry, Divine Forge, and Divine Waters. These just makes your tactics way stronger. These are not entirely broken because tactics are a limited resource on the battlefield unless you can recharge it. So you can go whatever. Divine Right, I am going to allow only one person in the campaign who submit officers can have this, because having both Spear and Pike tactics is a little broken, especially if you have both. So you kind of have to choose one or the other here. But very good. It is on par with General. General is just attack and versus weak unit, and that's only a chance to get a critical. This guarantees you doing more damage and doing more effects overall. Stampede is pretty broken, but I am not limiting it to one person because it does not always work all the time. Cavalry tactic versus weak unit confuses, so if you do a cavalry tactic on like a pike unit, you'll pretty much confuse them all the time, or bow units. It's very good. If you want a cavalry general, Stampede is probably one of the ones I would choose. Otherwise, go for Divine Cavalry, which just makes all your tactics stronger, do more damage. But Confusion is very good. Bowmanship, LA, able to use bow tactics in forest is pretty good. Not the worst thing in the world, but pretty good overall. Vengeance, I think, yeah. 50% damage chance of enemy move by tactic. I'm not sure what this means. I think it means if you push somebody, you have a 50% chance of being damaged. But I could be wrong. This is not bad, but not great either. Depends on what type of character you're using. Fortitude, with few men, 50% chance of no damage. Fortitude is very good. I think it procs when you're like 2,000 or less troops. You have a 50% chance of taking 0 damage from anything. I highly recommend, if you're going for a really good warrior character, Fortitude is one to consider as a skill. This isn't broken. It's a 50% chance of activating. It is pretty good without it being broken. Indestructible, 50% chance of no damage from weak enemy. Now, this is kind of broken. This is just Fortitude, but without the few men, essentially. As long as you're fighting an enemy that's not stronger than you in stats, or beats you in the rock, paper, scissors. So this is still allowable. It's much better than Fortitude. Like, it works a bit more than Fortitude, but Fortitude's kind of a clutch skill overall. Iron Wall means if 2 enemies attack you at the same time, you only take regular damage. Not bad. Could be better. Resolute, recover will after enemy tactic is not bad. I think it's pretty good. It allows you to sustain more of your tactics over time. If you take multiple attacks from enemy tactics, you can just recover your will pretty decently. I think it's like 5. It's not a lot. Here's a very good defensive perk or skill is Aegis. You take half damage for all 9 non-fire attacks. So any tactics, any regular attacks, you take half damage, guaranteed. However, if you are on fire, in fire, or get hit with a fire attack, you take double damage. That is the caveat. You will take double damage. So this is a skill that I still highly recommend. It's very good at building a really good force around Aegis. It allows you to tank damage like crazy and be able to last in fights much longer. It's just you got to be careful of being hit with fire, otherwise you will get screwed up fast. Escape route, not bad if you don't want to get captured. Escort, no damage if unit dies. And battle is only okay. Critical ambush, stronger attack on ambush is very good. This is very good with spears, and in forest you can do a lot of stuff with that. Fire assault, fire 100% success versus low intelligence unit. So if your intelligence is higher than theirs, your fire abilities will be guaranteed. So pretty good if you want to have like a fire build character. Poison Tongue, Misinform, I believe is... Ooh, excuse me. It allows you to stun enemies. So misinform is the, I believe is the stun. So this confuses enemies. So this gives guaranteed. Like, these are actually very good. Fire Assault's pretty good. Poison Tongue is very good. Disconcertion is pretty good. Trickery is really good. This allows your enemies to attack each other, essentially. This is very good if you have a high intelligence officer. Cunning, stronger strategies versus low intelligent units. This is pretty good. A lot of units you'll fight have a lesser intelligence overall. But Covert Plan, you can, this one's broken because you can just have an officer with a very low intelligence, and this makes their strategies pretty much guaranteed to win overall against other officers with higher intelligence than them. It is pretty broken, and you can purposely have a low intelligence for this to work really well as well. Detection, thwart strategies of low intelligence units. This is very good defense against units trying to confuse you or whatnot. Augment, strategies range increased by 1 square. This is very good. Some strategies you kind of need to use in certain situations and you can't reach them because you're in between enemies and your allies. So very good to have. Chain reaction is broken. Strategies affect adjacent units also, so you can just confuse an entire group of enemies if you so wish. Intensify is just in stronger unit strategies. It just overall makes them way better, even if you have like a lower intelligence stat. This one's pretty strong. I'm debating on making it a limited skill. I'll see if people request a lot of that. I might have to change it in the future. Counter plan. I'm doing Quantity counter with same. This is very good. I highly recommend if you want a high intelligence character in battle. This is very good. If they do a strategy and they fail, you literally counter for free, and you do the same as what they did. So it's pretty good. Siren is pretty good. Time to success rate versus male units. The majority of everybody in the game is male, so this just makes it to where your strategies are pretty broken overall. Sorcery is kind of broken, but not really. Let's use magic. Magic's pretty decent. It does a lot of damage and it saps the will from units. But it costs a lot, and that's why I'm like, it's allowed. I think if people use sorcery, it's not gonna break the game. Immunity to misinform, perturb, and clear thought is only limited to 1 character per game. Because clear thought just does both misinform and perturb. If you want either or of these, go for it. If you want to be immune to either or, that's very good still. Gladden Heart, own unit recovers will each turn. Very good. It's like 5 per turn. That's pretty good in certain situations. Allows you to do more tactics overall. Stirring music will gain via platform form is ×2. Very strong, very good. It's pairs well in like end game scenarios. Fortification is pretty good if you want to build and create facilities pretty quick. Fortification's right there. Colonization, troops use no food at harbors and barriers. Not bad. It could be better, but this is pretty good if you want to like sustain units in certain areas. Fame is one of the better domestics in the game. This pretty much doubles your recruitment of troops, so you can get normally like 2,000 to 3,000 per pull. With somebody with fame, increases that to like 5,000 to 6,000. It's quite a lot. It's literally more than double half the time. Same with breeding. Having more cavalry and more horses produced is very good. A lot of cavalry is not a bad thing. It's actually a very good thing, so a very good one to have. Invention is very good. So like I said, weaponry takes a while and a lot of money. This reduces it by half, so from like 40 turns to 40 days, which is 4 turns, can get turned into 2 turns. Very strong, very good. Shipbuilding is very good if you're near water a lot of the time, because boats do take a while. Very good. Prodigy is very good. I wouldn't recommend everybody get this because there's quite a few people in the game already who has this kind of ability, but technique research cost is halved is pretty good. Lister, is very good at finding people and recruiting more people pretty early on and later in the game. Negotiator, easier to use debate and diplomacy. This is good for certain things, like trading prisoners and stuff like that. Not bad. Wealth, sustenance, both very good. Just increases your food and gold income. Very good. It means you can just put this in somebody in a city that is just more for production wise. You can get a lot of money or food. And that will determine a lot of like early game stuff too. Taxation is very good. So every turn you just get gold in a city, which is very strong, very good, because it's usually every month, and that's very good. Cities receive food each month. This happens every 3 months, which is every 9 turns essentially. And with this, it means that city gets food every 3 turns. Very strong, not broken, but it's very good. And then these are just mostly for ties. This is to help stop you from getting attacked from bandits when your city is like low on morale and stuff like that. And you can literally these are okay. I wouldn't recommend having these unless you really don't care about what skill you get. Benevolent rule ups your loyalty, does not diminish, is pretty good. It means that you don't have to pay your officers all that much for their loyalty, and yeah, that's pretty good. Things Shoal is no locust or plague in end city. Very good, because that can diminish your population. That can diminish your troops. It can diminish your food a lot. Like an officer with this is pretty good, because very few people have it in this game. Prayers is not bad. The chances for common harvest and stuff isn't really great, and this only improves it by a little bit. And then the last thing is spousal support. Officer/spouse abilities +1 on marriage is not that great. It just means you get +1 on all your stats if you're married. That's it. But yeah, that is over everything to cover in the game. Again, you can always let me know any more questions you have. And I'm just gonna slowly go over this. You can pause to see which one each one says at the bottom here. But yeah, this is just for those who were struggling with knowing what to do with an officer. And yeah, this was also just a reminder that I will be doing this pretty soon. I'll be recording this series pretty soon. I haven't gotten any officers yet in commission, but I am hoping to receive some after this video goes up. I will be posting in the description the outline that you can copy and paste for yourself to use in creating your officer. And yeah, it's very simple, very easy. You can use this video and the previous recruitment video to do that. This video went a lot longer than I thought it did, but again, I was trying to explain everything as fast as I could. I do have other things I need to do, so I'm going to leave this pretty early. But yeah, I really want to do this. I really want people to participate. It'll be really cool and really fun. Again, I am going to advertise this to a lot of my friends and family sometimes, and other people who may be interested in doing this. So without further ado, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for sticking by with me. Yeah, this was fun, and I hope to see you guys again very soon. I'm Make It Awesome, and yeah, I'm ready to see your guys' commissions. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.